it's getting more and more expensive to power your home or business. One panellist got in touch to share his power bill story. He wrote the following: I have a medium-sized bar and we currently pay $2,000 in power monthly plus $600 for gas. It hurts knowing a chunk of the money is for profit for private shareholders. Electricity in this country is an absolute basket case, quote unquote. So this morning the government made a commitment to back major electricity projects with new investments, and a new LNG gas import terminal procurement process will start next week. This is what Energy Minister Simon Watts says it'll create a backup for dry years. Here we go.
The market needs certainty that we can turn and have the lights on during those dry years. That's what happened last year. We did not have fuel available to be able to ensure that we could keep the lights on sufficiently. That's what we inherited, and we've worked damn hard to turn that around. Okay. And the regulatory model we're putting in place will resolve that.
But it was well short of a major shake-up of the sector for that some were hoping for. I want to go around the panel. I want to ask a pretty grunty question. Now, this is something we brought up yesterday on the show. David Farrar, would you support renationalising the whole power sector, 100% in public ownership, yes or no?
Absolutely not.
I could have guessed that.
Why not?
Well, that's not going to solve security of supply. We need more electricity. And actually, if you look at power prices after the partial sale of them, they were some of our lowest increases in history for the next 4 or 5 years. The problems has come in the last few years because we haven't had enough energy projects come online. I love renewables, but when it takes 8 years to consent a wind farm, when they get turned down, there was one turned down there, the problem is a lack of supply, and not that 49% of the electricity companies got sold 10 years ago.
So, Bradford, would you support renationalising the entire power sector, 100% in public ownership?
Absolutely, and I'd just really like to do a shout out for the CTU's plan that it put up yesterday or the day before to treat electricity as a public utility that serves the best interests of all the people of New Zealand and of our industrial base, which we're losing so many factories and other places having to close down because of the supply issue. This government's just kicked the can down the road. We used to own the power. The people of this country used to own all the electricity, and it got slowly sold off and corporatised. And the CTU, I think, has come up with a really good plan, which I'd love to see Labor come out and support, whereby the government itself buys back the shares of the corporates and private investors and the gentailers.
Okay, supporting Craig Rennie's piece there. Who was on the other side? I want to sort of talk about the political lens on power. So, is this going to be a bit of a thorn in the side of the government coming into an election? You've got companies, in fact, you've got plants like pulp mills closing down across the country. Businesses are doing it very hard around power. You've got this bar in Dunedin who's paying, $2,000 a month. Will this hit politics-wise?
I think so, because it still feeds into the cost of living crisis because, we all know it, everyone knows it, that our power bills are exorbitant and out of control. And the commentary that I've heard, these reforms are not going to fix that. Instead of following some of the recommendations that were tipped, like putting the entire electricity system taken out of the ETS, that would have actually had a dramatic, immediate effect on power prices. But the government haven't done that. And I just saw today, Tokoroa, 119 jobs gone with Carter Holt. They're all going to Australia as well. I'm doing a story at the moment on food rescue. In Tokoroa, we've got 1,200 people once a week queuing up, huge demand for free food. I mean, this is
David Farrar,
nuts.
Give us an insight on what the thinking will be inside the tent. Will the government be really worried that this is a really sore point for them? We had some reform ideas yesterday. Many might say, look, it's not going to bring power prices down next week or the week after or even the week after that, maybe in a few years.
Yeah, look, I think it is a very potent political issue. I think it definitely could damage the government. And I think what we saw today was quite underwhelming. It wasn't on the level of major reform that people were expecting. I will say, though, partly the report recommendations that they turn around, I actually think it's a very good thing because I think they were terrible. Look, taking electricity out of the ETS, while good for power prices, would be terrible for our Paris Agreement and our climate change commitment because you lose all the incentive then to be shifting more to renewables. And one of the other recommendations we just talked about was actually not to nationalise the power companies but to sell them 100%. So they got a report that came up with some stuff that was just totally unpalatable. So what they've sort of done is said, well, we're not doing that. We'll do a few other minor things. But
okay, so you're saying
I don't
underwhelming.
think it is underwhelming.
Sue, on a final point, do you think the part of it is that people see, in the partial privatisation model, what they're seeing, I guess, is quite a few years of what might be called underinvestment, so the money not going back into the gentailers, and at the same time, the dividend payout is going up quite markedly.
That's the problem when you're running this for profit rather than for the people and for the industries of this country. It's all turned around the wrong way, and I think this is a real curveball for Labor. It's really critical.
In what way for Labor?
Because so far, all I've seen is Megan Woods saying that she'd need to be convinced and that different ownership's going to change anything. So not a good response, not a clear response. Craig Rennie, who helped write the CTU report, is really obviously strongly supporting the move towards public ownership. But will Labor itself have I'm talking courage now, have the courage to actually pick this up and run with it? They get so much support if they do.
Interesting. So politically, you see there is an opportunity here.
Absolutely.
Which is missed so far, right?
So I call on the Labor Party to actually have a deep think about this. Are they going to carry on like they are with no policy and not taking anything like this? They've been gifted something here by the government's failure to act and by the CTU's report.
David Farrar, you've got 7 days to turn this around. You've got 7 days to turn this around. What are you going to do? Is it going to be a package? Is it going to be a household package? Is it going to be a bit of a carrot? What are you going to do?
I would have split the retailers and the generators up. I think the gentailer split makes sense because I think you get better competition when you don't have the companies making the power also selling it to themselves effectively. So that's what I would have done. However, here's the problem. None of these things short of outright giving people cash or is going to fix anything in the short term. All these fixes take years probably to have an impact rather than weeks or months.
Okay.